Most people think of potatoes as something you boil, mash or roast, but for centuries people have preserved potatoes in another way, by drying them. And today we're going to show you how to turn simple potatoes into shelf-stable potato powder, which is something that can last for years. You can thicken soups with it, and even use it to replace flour in some recipes. This is simple food security the old-fashioned way. Now, a bit of history. Long before electricity, refrigeration or supermarkets, the indigenous people of the Andes developed a method called chuno. Chuno was freeze-drying potatoes the natural way, up in the high altitude cold of the mountains. The potatoes were left frozen overnight, and then the next day trampled to remove the moisture and then dried in the sun. These preserved potatoes could last 10 years or more. Then during both world wars, dehydrated potatoes became important as rations because they were lightweight, nutritious and didn't spoil easily. By the 1950s, instant mashed potato became a household staple across the Western world, and what we're doing today is much simpler. We're not freeze-drying them, we're gently dehydrating and turning those dried slices or dried mash into powder. So why make potato powder? Well, it's a long shelf life if we keep it dry and sealed, and it takes up very little space. As I mentioned, we can use it to thicken soups, also stews and gravy instantly. It can be rehydrated, then made into mashed potato. It's great for camping, and it's a gluten-free thickening option. For anyone interested in old skills, food security, or just reducing waste, this is gold. So how do Laura and I make potato powder? Well, the potatoes can be any variety. The starchy ones make a fluffier powder. The waxy ones still work, it's just a slightly different texture. First you need to peel them. Okay, then you slice them thinly. The thinner the slice, the faster and more evenly they dry. Next, wash them thoroughly in water with a little lemon juice to prevent oxidization. That's the darkening. And change the water repeatedly until the water is clear. Now we want to remove the starch. Potatoes are then cooked and mashed. You can boil them, mash them, put them in a stew. That's a quote from my favourite movie, or should I say trilogy. Now on a serious note, to dehydrate, set the dehydrator to 60 degrees for 24 hours, or in the oven at lowest setting, which is about the same, with the door slightly open for 24 hours. They're done when they're completely dry. Being completely dry is crucial because any remaining moisture means they won't last. They'll go off. Next, pulse the dehydrated potato into a powder in a blender. We use a NutriBullet. So blend until you have a very fine powder. Then let the powder cool completely before sealing it. Now this avoids condensation. It can be stored in glass jars, vacuum-sealed bags, or any airtight containers. Keep it in a dark, cool place. Once properly dried and sealed, the potato powder can last for a couple of years or longer. So what do we do with it? What do we use it for? This is where it really shines. Instant mashed potato. So we mix the powder with a bit of hot water and butter and yummo. Salt for a fluffy mashed potato. So yeah, add the salt. A soup and stew thickener. Add a spoonful directly into the soup simmering on the stove. There'll be no lumps and bumps. There'll be no need to make a roux first either. As a gluten-free thickener, being excellent for gravies and sauces. It can be used instead of flour as a binding agent. Now, if you make your own bread, you can add small amounts to the bread dough. And if you're camping, it's lightweight and a quick source of calories. There's something really satisfying about turning this humble potato into something that stores on the shelf for years, something to think about. Now, the old skills bring independence, and independence brings peace of mind. If you found this helpful, we'll share more of these old preserving techniques here on Laura and Andrew's journey, from dehydrating to fermenting to foraging and other traditional skills. Thanks for spending time with us, and we'll see you on the next one.